If you ask yourself, what do I want my attitude to be when things go wrong? You're not going to say, I want to be annoyed, I want to be upset. When you ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? You're more likely to say, I don't want to be angry, I don't want to be annoyed about this. And having answered that way, you will make some effort not to be angry and not to be frustrated. And I'll give you an example where it helped me a couple of years ago. I was driving in the western suburbs of Chicago in heavy rush hour traffic. Came to a set of traffic lights, turned left at the traffic lights, and a few seconds after turning left, I noticed in my rear view mirror a mobile discotheque. Cop car, flashing lights. So I pulled to the slower lane, he pulled to the slower lane. And I remember saying to myself, well, holy St. Patrick and St. Bridget. Bit of respect there, please. Holy St. Patrick and St. Bridget, what could that fine officer of the law want from an upstanding citizen like me? Now, that was the gist of what I was thinking. I may have said just one four-letter word. But for those of you whose mind is in the gutter, the word was oops. Which, as you all know, stands for uh-oh, police, stop. Right, so I pulled into a little small parking lot at the side of the road, and as I was pulling in, I said to myself, now why does he want to speak to me? And the only reason I could figure why he might want to speak to me was when I had turned left at the traffic lights. They were slightly red, but not by a whole lot now, mind you. So, he is there on his computer checking me to see if, in my case, I'm a member of the Irish Republican Army, or even worse, a Cubs fan. Go White Sox! I have to tell you, depending on who I'm speaking to, I obviously try and put in a kind of an answer to that gets a reaction. But when I was speaking up near the Green Bay area a couple of years ago, I made the comment that the cop was checking to see if I was a member of the Irish Republican Army, or worse, a Packers fan. I didn't think I would get out of that room alive. So he was there checking my computer to see what my record was like. And I asked myself the question that I said you should ask when things go wrong. So I asked myself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? And I said there's no point in being antsy and annoyed about this. He probably doesn't understand the concept of slightly red lights. So in my side mirror, I see him walking up towards me. And this being Chicagoland area, I prayed that he had an Irish name. I prayed that he had this vision of Ireland, that the roads are still unpaved, that milk is brought to the creamery via donkey and cart, and that traffic lights, if they exist at all, are, well, basically advisory. I look up. Officer Schmidt, who proceeded to tell me in minute detail what I had done wrong. He asked for my license and he asked for my insurance. Now, none of this is made up, I promise you. I had asked myself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? As he is looking at my license, he says to me, "Sir, I like your attitude." I'm thinking, woohoo, I'm getting away with this. Then he looks at my insurance and he says, "Sir, your insurance certificate is out of date." My wife normally looks after that, officer. He smiled. I think he realized he was dealing with one more administratively incompetent husband. Ladies, you know the story, I'm sure. And he just handed back the insurance certificate to me and he said, "Look, take it easy on that one." Now, I should tell you that this event happened on the 16th of March. Okay? One day before St. Patrick's Day. So the rest of the conversation went as follows. We're having great, good fun, and as you will see, it continued that way. So the rest of the conversation went, "How much will this cost me, officer?" He said, "I'll cite you for the red light. I'll leave you go on the insurance. That'll cost you $75, sir." $75? Do you know how many pints of Guinness I can get tomorrow for $75? The guy cracked up laughing. I think he thought I was on crystal meth. And he said to me, sir, if I was to cite you for the red light and the lack of insurance, this would be significantly more expensive. You'd have to go to a traffic court. So I said, thank you, I appreciate the break you're giving me. I pull into a very small parking lot with only one access and egress, so I had to turn the car around and drive by Officer Schmidt. As I drove by Officer Schmidt, I kid you not, he waved to me with a genuine smile. That was how the conversation had gone. And I said, this is crazy. This guy's waving to me with a genuine smile, and he's after fining me 75 bucks. And I waved back to him with a genuine smile, saying, this is really crazy. He's fined me 75 bucks, and I'm waving back to him. But what Officer Schmidt, though, would not have known was that for only $75, I had got a really memorable anecdote about the importance of asking yourself a really powerful question when things go wrong. And when things go wrong, and they will for every single person in this room at some stage, the question to ask yourself is, what do I want my attitude to be? It's a powerful question. If you get stuck in a traffic jam on the 88 this afternoon or 3:55 or going home, and there's nothing you can do about it, ask yourself the question, what do I want my attitude to be? All of you are here today because you've done fantastic work for Edward Hospital over the years. And I think what each of you should do is give yourself a giant round of applause for what you have done. There's one particular lady here, Donna Carlson, who's in the front row, who joined Edward Hospital in 1865. Oh no, oh 1965. Oh sorry, yeah. I was really intrigued about how well that Botox was working. But 1965, though, was actually a pretty interesting year. I mean, in 1965, Naperville still voted Democratic. In 1965, St. Patrick was but a lad. Pam Davis was still in diapers. And if you're a Cubs fan, 1965 was actually a good year as well. It was. It was only 57 years since you last won the World Series. Now, Donna joined the Edward Hospital in the medical records area, and I know you're saying 1965 medical records didn't exist then. Well, I was talking to her earlier, and she said they did. Basically, it was things like there are only two kind of categories: dead, not dead. To the core reason why I asked you to take out your business card. You're working in a business where you've got good products, your competitors have got good products, but ultimately it may well come down to the relationship you've got with your customers. So what I would like you to do is to write down on the back of this business card, and then I'm going to ask you to take the business card and put it in with your driving license or with your credit cards. I would like you to write down the 3 words. I'm not going to ask you what they are. I would like you to write down the 3 words you would like your customers to say about you after you have left the meeting with them. Write down the 3 words you want your customers to say about you after you have left the meeting with them. I'll give you a minute to do it. But basically what you have written down there on that business card is your brand promise. Now, a brand promise does not mean that is what the customer sees as your brand. But if you can actually live those 3 words, you have a much better chance than of the customer actually seeing that this is your brand. And they will say those things about you. I'm asking you to put the business card back in with your driving license or with your credit cards, is that when you go to the gas station tomorrow or go to the airport, you got to take out your driving license for ID, you will see those 3 words. You will say, hey, would Bill, Nancy, Jerry, Francis use any of those 3 words to describe me after they met me at the HMMC conference? Or when you go to your clients next week, will they say those 3 words about me? Now, the power of this, if you really believe that those 3 words are important, right? The next time you are making a major sales pitch, take out that business card and ask yourself, all right, what do I want them to say about me after I finish the meeting? I want them to say that we're proactive, very good on follow-up, innovative, easy to work with, whatever words you want to use, right? Now, if you have that clear vision as to what you want them to say after you've left the meeting, and if you believe that if they say that, you've been successful, I think what you can now do is you can actually figure out, how do I craft my presentation to get them to say those words? Now, I'm not suggesting you be manipulative, but I mean, you know, you can phrase your conversation and your sales presentations, obviously, to get the business. So, I mean, it's not just going into, my objective is not just to go into get a $4 million piece of business. My objective is right now, because decisions are not yet being taken, my objective right now is to get them to know that we're reliable, innovative, easy to work with, etc. If you go in with that clear goal, you'll have framed your thinking about it, and when you frame your thinking about that, you have a real chance of making it happen. And if you make it happen, you have a clear goal and a clear vision as to what success will look like. Another example of an organization that was energized by clear goal and clear vision is McDonald's. The thing about the clear goal and vision is, saying you want hot, fresh food and clean restrooms is not very dramatic, but it is compelling and it is clear. And I think when you're developing your vision, it doesn't have to be dramatic, it doesn't have to be different from your competition, but if you actually make it compelling and you make it clear, you have a much better chance of making it happen. So clear that can make a difference to you, though, is whether or not you implement what I call restroom marketing. And you're kind of saying, what is he talking about now? Restroom marketing. Restroom marketing comes from that little anecdote I told you about McDonald's. And Cantaloupe said that people were boycotting McDonald's because they weren't providing fresh hot food and clean restrooms. And basically what he realized is that there are certain things that if you don't get right, people will boycott your business. And one of the basic ways that people lose business is because you don't get basic things right or simple things right, and your customers get tired of you and then move to someone else. It isn't because you don't have a good product, it's because something went wrong. And one of the simple little questions you could ask yourself in terms of restroom marketing is to ask yourself, I would define restroom marketing as non-negotiables, all right? So for McDonald's, it had to be clean restrooms, right? It had to be hot, fresh food. And once they started moving away from that, they started to lose business again. For you, the non-negotiables are things that if you don't get right, your customers will walk. And a very good exercise for you to do with your colleagues would be to ask yourself, what are our non-negotiables? What are the things that if we don't get right, we lose customers? And these are non-negotiables that don't necessarily just apply to the C-suite, to the executive office, but they're applied to every part of the business. How many people here are fans of Eli's cheesecake? A few people here, right? Famous Chicago cheesecake operation. I was listening to the CEO of Eli's Cheesecake a couple of days ago at a conference, and he said the most important person in the restaurant is the busboy. And what you've got to understand is, who are the people, the equivalent of the people serving your table for your customers? And you've got to make sure that they understand what the non-negotiables are. And if they understand what the non-negotiables are, if they implement them, you're going to satisfy your customers, they're going to say good things about you, you're going to grow your business. A simple concept, but not something that people necessarily pay a lot of attention to. So that's the first element I want to speak to you about. G is for goals.